Maury, thank you for joining me here on Mind Your Business.
Yitzchok, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
Thank you so much. What a treat. Well, tell me about yourself. I mean, you went to yeshiva, and now you're advocating on behalf of yeshivas. Was it in third grade that you dreamt it? Did you have a dream of the role that you're actually in now?
Yeah, it's funny, by the way, because this is a business show I've listened before, and people's journey is always not as clear. So,
right,
when you're a teenager or you're speaking to people and you speak to young individuals, they'll tell you, "Well, I want to be from point A to point Z." And anyone who's been successful at anything will tell you that there's a lot of bumps along the way.
Right.
So people always ask me, "Well, how do you get into politics?" And I said, "Well, what happened was I was gonna be a lawyer, and I was gonna be a lawyer. I was thinking about doing the lawyer. I took my LSATs, and it was a disaster, and that didn't work. And I was doing some entry level jobs when I was just graduating college, and I got fired from both of them. And I said, this is absolutely
not working,
right? And I always tell people, I say sometimes the best thing you can do is get fired because it sort of makes you wake up. Right. And there was there was an internship for Blue Cross Blue Shield, one of the big insurance providers, and they were working on at the time something called the Patient's Bill of Rights and different things that were going on. And I worked in the web department of the Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I was processing like different very, very menial, boring things that were happening on the website. And on the right near me, was this other shop where people were screaming and excitement was happening and they were yelling and they were wheeling, dealing and pinstripe
that got
suits.
Your attention.
And I said, whoa, wait, what's that? What's that department over there? And the website said to me, and the IT side can be fun. They said, those are the lobbyists. Those are the people who do the advocacy. I said, what is this? So I ended up getting another internship in a big lobbying shop, one of the biggest at the time, and working and just seeing really the same dynamic, which was the lawyers were, again, love lawyers who were doing 15, 20 hours a day of a lot of paperwork, a lot of different things, which are very important. But the lobbyists were doing something else. The advocates were doing something else on behalf of clients. Casinos one day, insurance another day, business another day. And a lot of it was about not just closing deals. A lot of it was negotiating. But it was advocacy in a very profound and interesting way. And I went from there to work in Congress and work as an advocate. And I sort of never looked back.
Now, Maury, before we get into a certain question I'll just ask the question that I want to get to, and that is some differences between working with elected officials on the federal level, the state level, and the local level. But before we get to that, talk to us about Teach Advocacy, the nature of it, the impact. Talk about it.
The best way to describe what we're doing at Teach Advocacy Network is really to think about government programs and the choice that people have in life. And if you receive Medicare or Medicaid, you can choose the hospital in which you go to. You can choose whether or not you're going to go to a Catholic hospital with a crucifix in it. You can choose to go to a Jewish hospital with a Star of David in it. And when you do HUD-assisted living, the choice is made where you want to live. No one says to you, you have to live here. You have a choice of options where you do it. When you have food stamps, and people unfortunately have to take food stamps and food aid, young mothers, etc., need, you have a choice. You can pick halal, you can pick kosher, you can pick whatever you do. In America, there's one thing that has suffered from a lack of choice, and that's education. And unfortunately, this lack of choice has been going on for too long. And there's still, for example, districts where public school children can't pick where they want to send, where they want to go to school. So I, for example, had a nanny who I was trying to work with because her son was brilliant and was put into only one public school system, and he was not getting treated well, and he really wanted to be in a different school system, and because there isn't a choice in education, he didn't have the choice of where to go. Similarly, for myself, who has 4 children in yeshiva day school, I wanted a choice of where to send them to, and that choice, which obviously in the Jewish world and Catholic world is not so much of a choice, because this is a community we live in, and this is a requirement in the community to send to Jewish day school. It's our culture, it's our heritage, it's something we want to champion, and we want our kids to be part of. And that's what Teach Advocacy Network is about. It's about adding that choice and that option to the list of government programs that merit in America the freedom to really choose where you want to do that. And in society today, government is looking at all kinds of things and saying, how can we be more inclusive? How can we give people the choice to live their lives in a way where they can thrive in America? And education has to be like that from top down. Now, we're looking at it in a particular manner. We're looking at it from the non-public school manner because you have Jewish, Catholic, Muslim, other schools that really care a great deal about the public school system, but also care a great deal about their school systems. Right. And the current model is not sustainable in many of these schools for these children to thrive. And it's something that we work on with the government, because if you think about it, there's really two reasons why this is such a good investment in non-public school education by state and local government is such a good opportunity. And it's really an opportunity. Number one is because every time a parent chooses to send their children into a non-public school, it's saving a state tens of thousands of dollars. No question.
Right, per child, but 18, 26, whatever it was.
Right. But even more important, when we invest in a Jewish day school student or a private individuals invest in a Catholic school student, we did an economic study, and do you know that we actually generate revenue for the state? Billions of dollars. And you know why we do? Because every time there's a Jewish school or Catholic school, they have to buy desks, and they have to buy insurance.
Right. That's even after
equipment,
they build.
And there's masonry, and there's union, and then all kinds of things. And when we show that to politicians, they said, this has got to change. You're right. It's not just saving money, it's in investing money. And when you go and there are people who reflexively say, well, we can't. But when you make the argument and you explain it to them the way it was just articulated, I've never ran into a politician who didn't say there's a way for us to do more. For example, terrible anti-Semitism in the country this past year. So politicians stepped up state after state through our advocacy to provide security funding to New York Jewish day school students, New Jersey Jewish day school students, in Maryland, in California, in Florida for the first time. We had Governor Scott in Florida 2 weeks ago announcing more funding. Governor Cuomo was a leader on this, set the tone for the first governor to do this, because these governors recognize in a bipartisan manner that an investment in these children is an investment for their state.
I love the honor of interviewing C-level executives and sharing their great advice and perspective on Mind Your Business. I'd love to get your feedback. Post it in the comments below and subscribe. You'll never miss an edition of Mind Your Business.